What's up, everyone? Today I'm bringing a deck profile on my Lyrilusc, or Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade to be more specific. And when building this, originally my plan was to use the secondary effect of Ptolemaeus, because thanks to the Lyrilusc continuous spell, which allows you to take two winged beasts and overlay them on top of each other, including materials. Using the effect of Ptolemaeus is pretty realistic. I ended up taking it out just because I wasn't really getting the results I was really thinking of. Sure, you can skip your opponent's turn, but I don't really have much follow-up beyond that. Like, being able to go into the game is still really hard because this, in addition to the Ptolemaeus, just makes your extra deck just too tight and not a lot of flexibility. But Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade by itself without the Ptolemaeus still is very powerful. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First off, I've run the 3 Turquoise Warbler. I really wish that there's higher rarities for the Lyrilusc, but unfortunately most of them are just higher rarities common, which is sad. But effect-wise for Warbler, if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if this card is special summoned from the hand, you can special summon Lyrilusc monster from your hand or graveyard. Ideally, you would have a copy of Cobalt Sparrow to go along with it. Cobalt Sparrow, when it is special summoned, you can add one level 1 winged beast monster from your deck to your hand. And when it's XYZ summoned using this card as material, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. So if you go into your Sun Blue Robin, you definitely want to have a Cobalt Sparrow as material, which basically makes the Robin untargetable by effects. So like no imperm, stuff like that just isn't going to really work, which is definitely really good because you don't want to get impermed. Also run 3 copies of the Celestine Wagtail. Wagtail, when it's special summoned, you can add one Lyrilusc spell trap from your deck to your hand, and if it's in the graveyard, you can attach it to one of your Winged Beast XYZ materials, or to one of your Lyrilusc XYZ monsters. You can also run 2 copies of Sapphire Swallow. Sapphire Swallow, if you control a Winged Beast, you can special summon this card from your hand and one Winged Beast monster from your hand, which is definitely really good. So like, let's say we have the Warbler first. We're going to use this to go into probably Celestine Wagtail or the Battle Canary, and then you can use the effect of Sapphire Swallow to special summon itself and the Cobalt Sparrow to hand. Speaking of Battle Canary, I run 2 copies of it. So I run 2 copies of the Battle Canary. Battle Canary, if this card is in your hand, you can try one Lyrilusc monster in your graveyard. Special summon both this card and that monster. Sadly, you cannot use special summon monsters from the extract except XYZ monsters for the rest of the turn, which isn't too much of a downside because your main boss monster is a Lyrilusc XYZ monster. But you definitely want to use this last, so you could also use your Tri-Brigade engine. So I run 3 Fractal. Fractal, you can send itself from hand or field to the graveyard to foolish a Tri-Brigade monster, which will basically be the kit. Kit, when it is foolish, you can foolish again, which you then foolish the copy of Nerval. And Nerval, when it is foolish, you can add a Tri-Brigade monster from your deck to your hand. You'll either go for the Fractal or one of your 2 copies of Karis. Karis, you can discard one other Beast Warrior or Winged Beast monster from your hand to special summon it from the hand. So really, depending on what your hand looks like, you'll either go for that or the Fractal. Now, all the Tri-Brigades have an effect too, where you can banish any number of Winged Beast, or Beast Warriors from your graveyard. Special Link monster from your extra deck with the Link rating equal to the number banished, which is pretty cool. For hand traps, I run 3 Ash Blossom Joy Spring, pretty solid. For spells, I run 3 Bird Call. Bird Call, you can add one Winged Beast, or add one Lyrilusc monster to your hand or send it to the graveyard, then you can special summon one Lyrilusc monster with a different name from your hand. Also run the Bird Sanctuary. This is the card that makes the Ptolemaeus viable, but I just cut the Ptolemaeus. So basically, target 2 Winged Beast XYZ monsters you control, attach one of those monsters to the other monster's material, and transfer the materials. So you can get your Lyrilusc XYZ monsters to have a good number of material, which is definitely really good because the Sun Blue Robin's not a once per turn. And if you control an XYZ monster with 3 or more materials, you can draw 1 card. Also run the 1-for-1 because Lyrilusc are all of 1, which also makes sense why we're playing 2 copies of War Thou, as well as 2 Jack in the Hand. Jack in the Hand and War Thou both have their pros and cons to them. In terms of effect, I think Jack in the Hand's better, whereas War Thou requires you to control a 1, but it's also not a once per turn, and you get the card you want, whereas Jack in the 1, you get the second best card out of the 3 you reveal. Also run 3 copies of Fire Formation Tenki to search the Fractal, which gives you access to your Tri-Brigade engine. And as for traps, I run 3 Harpies Featherstorm. If you're playing a Wing Beast deck, you gotta play this card. It's basically VFD. Yeah, very powerful. Your opponent cannot activate cards or your opponent cannot activate any monster effects this turn. Also, run the 1 Tri-Brigade Revolt because I do play the Bear Boom in the extra deck, and you know it's just another disruption on your opponent's turn. As for the extra deck, 2 Recital Starling. Cool thing is that this card is not a once per turn. So basically, detach 1 material from this card to add 1 level 1 Wing Beast monster from your deck to your hand. It's definitely cool. I play 1 Assemble Nightingale. Nightingale is one of your closers as well as a really good going second option. Because 1, it can attack directly. 1, it can make itself to where it can't be destroyed by valid card effects. You take no battle damage. And it's also got an additional cool effect where it gains 2 under attack for each XYZ material attached to it, and this card can attack directly and up to the number of materials this card has. So let's say you go first, you summon the Robin with 5 materials, for example. You detach 2 to negate 2 of your opponent's summons, and then on the following turn you go into Nightingale, use the effect of the continuous to get more materials, and let's say you get 8 materials on this, that's game, because this can attack directly 8 times for like 10,000 attack. So yeah, really good card. As I mentioned before, the Assembly Robin gains 500 attack for each material attached to it. If your opponent special summons a monster, you can detach 1 material from this card, target 1 of the special summon monsters, return to the hand. And if this card in your possession is set to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, or by an opponent's card, you target 1 of the other monsters from the graveyard, add to your hand. The cool thing is that Assembly Robin is not a once per turn. So whenever they would special summon a monster, you can compulse it up to however many materials you have. And getting it up to like 5 materials is very easy. First, got a Zeus. As for the links, I run the 2 Baron Blossom. You know, summon a level 4 or lower Wing Beast, Beast Warrior. 1 Bear Boom, that's how you get access to your Revolt. Silver Sheller comes up occasionally, just when you need a Link 3. Also got the Omen. I do run 1 copy of Anima, which is another good going second card, because you can target 1 phase of monster your opponent controls. You equip it to this monster. So it's like the Thousand Eyes Restrict. It's pretty cool. Also on Purple Dragon Lords. You know, another good Tri-Brigade target, as well as Apollosa and Axis Kotalker to round out the extra deck. So, you know, what do you think of Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade? I think it's a pretty good deck. I definitely think it's one that is always going to be under consideration. Let me know in the comments. I'll see you next video I make. Bye.